Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hagir Show on the Hagir Network. And today I am extremely honored to have one of the most amazing leaders and inspirational women that I ever known. To be honest, I am blessed to know you. Our area is blessed to have you. And without further ado, and please introduce yourself to everyone. Tell us who you are, and we'll take it from there.
Oh, thank you, Hajir. It is my honor to know you. I'm so glad we are having this relationship. So, my name is Ann Couldridge. I am the executive director for the ARC of Cumberland and Perry counties. We support people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism. But I do this work because I'm also a mother. I have a 24-year-old son with autism. He is nonverbal. He has an intellectual disability. And I also have a stepson that is 35 with an autism diagnosis.
Oh, this is actually, I was just talking to Anne before we start, and I said, she is one of the mothers and the leaders that truly give me the push in the morning. And we all know how hard it is to have a child, let alone a child with a special need. And sometimes you feel like everything is stacked against you. You don't know where to start or where to go. And just to look around and know that there are programs, there are people who get up every day to make a difference and try to find resources and do things so the other parent or anybody in the community can feel they belong somewhere and they can make it easy. One of those programs is the ARC. So I want you to start. Just talk to us. How did you get to be in the position you're in?
And I'm
How all
in.
that started, and what is the ARC of Cumberland and Perry County?
Wow. So my
Big
journey,
question.
I know it's a big question, but that's good. We have time. So, I mean, honestly, my journey just into developmental disabilities isn't something I planned. It's how life happened. So, I've been married for 26 years. And my stepson, as I said, had an intellectual disability, and we raised him. I helped raise him. And so I I was that stepmom. I was researching. I was finding where we were also a military family. We were moving around in different states of different things. And so we moved to Pennsylvania in 2003. I can't believe it's been that long. And my stepson was in high school, but at that point, my youngest son, we had also realized he was 3 at the time. His development was slow. And so I had two things going on. I had one in early intervention, and I had one entering high school. And when my stepson Matthew was in high school, the first year in, the teacher called and said, "I don't think this is the right classroom for him." And I was home with the boys at that time, and I just thought, what do we do? Everywhere we've ever lived, the public schools serve. So I was venting to moms because moms have each other's back. When I was waiting outside of early intervention to pick up my son, and I was venting to another mom, and she said, "Do you know about CPARC?" And I said, "No, what is it?" And she said, "CPARC has free advocacy services for families. They will help you navigate the school system." So I went home and I made the phone call, and I got connected to a wonderful advocate. We met with the school. She helped us develop his IEP. We wound up finding an IU classroom that was excellent. And I never lived in another state that had an intermediate unit. This was all new to me. But because it was so impactful, I started volunteering here. And then, as you know, in nonprofits, they pull you in. So, volunteering turned into being on committees, and that eventually placed me on the board of directors. And I guess it was in 2015, the development position open here, grant writing, fundraising. I mean, I live this work. I live this the mission. So I had that job for a few years, and in 2017, the executive director position opened up. And at that point, I said to my husband, I have sat around just about every seat of the table of this organization, between, customer, if you will, to working for it, to being on the board, and to being involved. And so I went for it. It is a whole different level of commitment, being in charge of this wonderful organization. Just to give you a sense of our size, we have about 225 staff members. It is all the way as far out Shippensburg. We have programs in Harrisburg, up in Perry County. We serve people from York that come to us from York County. But overall, what an ARC is, any ARC, there's an ARC United States, there's an ARC of Pennsylvania, which do great advocacy work, but any local chapter of the ARC ultimately is an advocacy organization. And I know most people think of advocacy as going to the Capitol and talking to legislators, and yes, we do that. But it is also a service to families. So as I said earlier, we do for families that have a child with an IEP, we provide free advocacy services. It's everything from developing an IEP to being a mediator between any issues that could come between families and the school system. We always say we work on what is in the best interest of the student. It may not be what the parents want. It may not, like, we focus on what is in the best interest of the student. And then we have adult advocacy, which, my son's 24, he's adult now. So we help families just understand and navigate things like guardianship and medical decision making, or how to apply for services and get connected with the county. And unfortunately, adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities can be victims of crime. And when they happens to them, they may not know how to navigate the legal system, or they need somebody to be their voice. They're less likely to be believed. And then we have the other side of sometimes they are perpetrators of crimes, and it is the same thing. They need support. They may have been easily influenced or doing something they don't understand. So we have great connections with the legal system as well. So that's, any ARC will have that, but we are actually, Hagir, the fourth largest chapter of the ARC in Pennsylvania. And that is because of the size and scope of the other things we do. So we have employment services where we help people find jobs in the community, and the stages from job exploration all the way through competitive employment. We provide residential services, and it could be anything from helping people live and maintain in their own house or apartment through 24/7, 365 support in a group home. We also have day programs. My son participates in that. The focus is really being out in the community, and doing the things they enjoy, driven by the choices and things that they like to do. And that includes a lot of volunteerism, because we want to be out there included and seen as providing value and being an integral part of the community, just like anyone else. So that is the gist of what we do. It is a lot. It is a lot.
It is. And I'm sure many parents, first of all, individuals and families who have a child with autism, or an adult on the autism spectrum, or even any member of our community, did not know everything you do, because I was guilty of that. I had to go back and do more research. And part of it, and is, as a mother of a child with special needs, you will know you don't have the time. Like what I see with Kareem, everything that when it happened, I was running my company, everything was going good for the past 3 years. My company suffered. My income is reduced dramatically, and that's for someone who's out and trying to do so. To think of other parents who have just a 9 to 5 or a 7 to 3 job, they're single parent. Um, just to find the resources is hard, let alone to know everything exists. So, is your service like directed or targeted towards a specific age, or it covers all ages? That's
So I
one
would
of the
say
question we got.
yeah, yeah. Oh, great. So I
Hmm.
would say the majority of our services are for adults or post-graduation, although and I knowing everybody I'm talking to, so when your student age, school age child turns 18 and 21, they're
Hmm.
generally, well, there should be by age 14 a transition plan. So what will adulthood look like? So we do sometimes provide services for those 18 to 21 that are in that transition age. So it could be, we're doing employment type services, or maybe like you're transitioning to day program services. What's your life going to look like after school? We may step in there. Advocacy
Hmm.
services, advocacy services definitely. We don't do early intervention, but if you called here and you needed resources, we would tell you where it is that you can find those things. So we encourage all families. And we do family education, which I did sort of miss out. So that does fall under our advocacy umbrella, but we do go out. We are trying to have more events. We have a parent support page just for families. And it's things like a parent may say, does anybody know a dentist that works with kids with autism? And we may not say it, but other families are engaging with each other because, just to your point, where do you go? Where
Yeah.
do you and
Yeah.
that's the beauty about social media. Whereas I was standing outside waiting to pick up my son. That's how I found out about Sea Park. The parent support group page is there for families to engage. And we really kind of, during COVID, we knew we needed to do that because people were even more isolated. And I do
Yeah.
this work every day too, but there are moments where you feel isolated because it's your situation and it's the challenges you're working
And it's a 24-hour job. And
on. Ooh,
part of
yes.
our struggle, which is, just for me, was the last 5 years, having it personal. Prior
Mm,
to that, I have friends, I talk to them, you help them, but it's not affecting you as much as it will affect you when you have someone in your house living with a special
yes.
need and you find yourself spending the whole day just researching. So like organization like the ARC and the resources that you guys provide, and so many other wonderful organization in our area that provide support. But yeah, it's that the feeling, feeling alone, and
Right.
feeling that you don't have that village, even if you do have one or two people. So is it safe to say the ark could be one of our villages for the community, and the parent can feel they can reach out and get support?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How does that start? Just to
So
call you guys, or there's
yeah,
somewhere
so
we can?
so if you called our main office and asked for advocacy, you'll get an intake person, and they will talk to you about what it is you're looking for, and from there we will figure out who we would assign you to, based on the areas of expertise.
Now I'm sending a shout out to my dear friend Floyd, who introduced me to this amazing, amazing, amazing woman right here. And because honestly, not just the ignorance, like we know, but if I did not even know half of the things that you do, I can understand that all the parent in the area
Mhm,
who just feel they're drowning every day, they're not gonna
mhm,
be able to do it. So yeah, being out in the community, trying to share the knowledge, and for the parent support part, um, you know, like what helped me is talking to parent who has a child a year or two older, and I'll be able to see. One thing that I'm just going to say before I have
mm,
you talk to us about your experience, when like a year ago, Kareem is still using the pull-up. He doesn't say anything, like not respond, nothing. And I took him to the autism clinic, and we start to work on his plan. And I see kids are older than him a year or two, and they're communicating or doing simple things. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, he will never be able to. So I start talking to the parent, and we had develop our own small support group. And they were able to tell me, you're going to be surprised. Just keep doing what you're doing and watch. He's going to talk. Within 6 months of extensive therapy at home, at the clinic, and having some friend helping me, he is repeating now and understanding some words. We're able to have him halfway potty trained. The night is still an issue, but those are the things that people are missing. Not just to talk, but to talk to someone who's actually going to be your child future. And
Right.
every child is different.
Right.
But if somebody told me when he hit age 5, he will start repeating, he will do this, I wouldn't believe him at age 3.
Right.
But
Right.
you just need to see. And that's why it's good to know all the parents in various ages. It gives you a big picture, and you just
Right.
have to take it one day at a time. How is your experience with your son and your stepson? And what you feel about this whole parent
So
support and knowledge?
I think you raised a really good point about you looking around and seeing other kids and like comparing yourself. And I feel like, emotionally, that's a really, I don't want to say a fatal mistake we make, but because each child is unique. We still assist my son with the restroom, more than we would need for his age. But that's him. And the being he's nonverbal, but we were talking earlier about how much like all of a sudden he's stringing 5-word sentences together with his iPad. He's had that since kindergarten. So you're right. And what I find the most value in is the little nuance, right? So for us, I can remember with toileting for Connor, like it started off that we just went into the bathroom. And if he made the mess in the bathroom, hey, we were in the right room. And that was step one. And from there, we formed it to the toilets eventually. But it's like, that's a nitty gritty thing about Connor that we tried. It was, sometimes you try things and it doesn't work, and something that it does. But like, I, I freely share that because I don't know, that might work for someone else. And so that's, to your point, is so important because it's in the little things, that because we get a lot of training and jargon thrown at us and protocols and do that, right? But it's the little things like, hey, well, I followed this, but this one little shift made all the difference. And someone else can try that too. So yes, we need our community. We need our community.
With that area, if we want to just stay here a little bit,
Sure.
most of the people around us, they probably by this point heard or knew about autism, but
Mhm.
still there is the stigma still there. There
Yes.
is still a lot of misconceptions and a lot of misinformation. We get this. If I get bait for every time somebody asks me if the immunization caused his
Oh, right.
disorder. If somebody
Right.
told me, "What did you do during the pregnancy?" The blaming,
Uh,
the question about, have you tried this? Did you change the diet? Did you do that? So all of this misinformation and misconception, the stigma, the way that the community look at the parent and the child as you're a failure as a mom or a dad, and your child is acting up, so control your child. All of this, how can we help
wow. Wow.
or
Uh,
change?
I
How can
know.
we raise
I
awareness, and how
I think
can
it's
we
like, yeah, it's continued education and change one mind at a time because you can't change them all. But I think we know that now, right? Autism, there probably may be a genetic component, but there's also an environmental component, even though we haven't figured it all out yet. Um, I just know that like something that I often think of is we have to stop. And I don't know if this is because I've been doing this a long time, and I don't, and maybe it's a strong word, but infighting amongst each other. Because that's the only way I think we will be able to really move it forward and advance as a community. So I hear you. Like I do know families that are absolutely believe the vaccines. caused the autism in their child. I'm not here to argue that with them. I just know that that was not my experience. But together, what we need for our children is services, is acceptance, is the community to understand and embrace us. So, we talk about different things, what we can do and have different opportunities. And I know that was some of the things I loved hearing you talk about. What was driving you is like, where is there a place we can all come together? Because we need that, right? We all need our own tribe at times, and we are the autism tribe and the autism moms, and we need that place. And the dads, I will say that too. Sometimes I think the dads don't get as much credit, but as they should. But I have a wonderful husband, so I have to say that, a real hands-on dad. So yeah, we need to come together, and we need to create opportunities. And I'm thinking of things like that we try to do here is we partnered with the movie theater in Carlisle to do sensory friendly films. And I've taken my son to that 2 times. I've learned maybe that's not the best thing he likes, but I also know now he's had that experience where I wasn't comfortable. I couldn't walk into the opening night of a 7 p.m. Friday night summer
Yeah.
blockbuster with him. That just was too much. It was too many people. It was like, but this gave him that experience to be able to do so. And I think that the community, if they just get a little creative and just understand and turn to places like Sea Park, because we can help guide that. We can open up the community, so you and I can learn what it is our children do and do not like, expand their life. That's what we're all trying to do. I still learn new things at my age, right? So that never
Yes.
stops. But we need we definitely need the community to participate, reciprocate, because you and I, it just always feels like an
Yeah.
uphill struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure many others are feeling the same way. And honestly, like I just want to thank you. This is not the end, but I just want to thank you because when we were connected with again Floyd,
Yeah,
and I came and talked to you, you were so helpful, understanding, and supportive, and you just listened to me. You came and you like guided and talked and gave me even a minute. You don't know how much that meant to me when I was starting the Karimi's mission. And with that, because I didn't see a lot for his age,
mm,
and the kids are his age. I know the ARC does a lot of work also, and there is the Cumberland County IDD.
yes,
Susan, shout out to Susan
yes.
and the team. They're doing an amazing work. But she said this is not there for the young people, and that's where Karim's mission came. They're like, we're not trying to um, replace or become a new
Right.
organization. We wanted to use, and I think that's what's missing. I don't know if you agree with me. It's like there is resources, but like you said earlier, the whole community need to come together because we have a one mutual goal. And instead of wasting the time and energy and money, we could all come and see what the ARC does and what the ARC is not doing, or how can we complement that? How we can
Right.
all partner or come together. Because at the end of the day, the goal is mutual, is us to find resources, a
Right.
place for us to come and sit. And like you said about the movies, we just tried Hershey and he loved it. There is a show that they do. He goes to Hershey every time. This is his favorite spot, but because he loved the water.
Wonderful.
But we sat. My friend actually took him for the first time, and she said he loved it. It wasn't too loud. So like Hershey,
Right.
shout out to them. They have a beautiful delight, but it wasn't too overwhelming. And we
Yeah.
just want more places to be understanding. We're not telling them to change their whole routine. Just give
Right.
us a day or two there so our kids can come to your
Yes.
place and join you and not get frustrated. And
Yes.
where other places would you recommend for like parents to do a night out until we get Karimi's Mission Center? We have until we get that
Oh,
and we have a permanent
that's a,
place. Um, where can
so
people go?
so wow. I mean,
And
I
let
don't,
me make it
I,
easy. Does the
yeah.
arc have like a place, or you have like events also to allow parents to come and just be themselves and
Yeah,
sensory, providing all
so
of that?
our family support group, I know sometimes does get together and meet face to face. I have to check on how frequently that is occurring, but it's the same thing. It's a place to get together and talk. Um, they try to have a topic, but sometimes you get way off topic because people just want to vent or talk. Um, we are trying more and more, like I know places like Create a Palooza, they will have sensory friendly opportunities. Yeah, I think if you probably even search sensory friendly events or in your area, that might be a good place to start. You mentioned Hershey, and I do know because the Vista School for Autism is out there.
Yeah.
That sometimes Hershey does sensory friendly experiences. So I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely recommend that as well. Um,
Whitaker Center,
wow, the big
and
question.
that's
Yes, yeah,
yep, Whitaker Center started one Saturday a month, and the first couple of months she said they had great turnout, but after that it started to slow. So now they're re-evaluating. So any parent that is listening to us, if you
yes.
can make it, I think they will
Go.
re-evaluate in October. They're taking a
Right.
small 2 months break. So if anyone there interested, I know the parking is really hard in downtown Harrisburg, but more places like Whitaker need to start, um, you know,
Yes. It's funny you say that because I also a good friend Laureen Mahay at the theater Harrisburg, they are doing something, you could look this up. It's called the Penguin Project, and it's inclusive theater. So I think if I am correct, they're getting ready to do the performance now. So but this year, um, so it is basic, it's live theater, and it has actors with and without developmental disabilities. So I know if they continue to do that, because I believe it's the second time they've done it, the opportunity will be there for people, if they're listening to this, if their child is interested in somehow participating in theater, there are opportunities there for that as well. Or you can just go see it if you just want to go see it. It's a welcoming environment. Yep. Yep.
you are
I,
absolutely right. What else
I'll
you said?
the one thing I'll give a plug for too is that I know in the winter there's something in Mechanicsburg, the Tim Tebow Night to Shine prom. Those fill up pretty quickly, but that's another opportunity to experience, what a prom would be and look like. Not that those students aren't included now, but it is, again, to the point of having moments and opportunities to just feeling more comfortable to be you. That is a wonderful program as well.
Do you have any program? I know you mentioned something about employment. We have
Yes.
one of our young ladies, Miss Gabby. Shout out to Gabby here. She was searching for jobs, and I know she shared that with us that some employment that were offered to her, she couldn't handle it. Like that's part of the training that we were talking about, and I know
Mm,
you offer that to educate employers, for example, if someone who is not comfortable to be around a lot of people, to educate them about the levels of autism, for example. So she couldn't continue because it was too overwhelming for her, and
okay.
she got another job. It's the same thing, and so do you guys do that part of training the individual with autism, but also training companies and organizations?
Yes, we do. So we do both. So we have job coaching. That's to me what it would sound like Gabby might need.
Yes.
But the disclaimer, and you mentioned Sue earlier, um, coming to any of our adult services comes through a referral through the Cumberland County MHIDD office. So yes, if you have a sports coordinator and you're all signed up, then you can say you want CPARC to provide those services. And we will see where we're at because we also have waiting lists, but we but we move them. So there's that. And then yes, we do have a program where we go and we train. It's called Sea Park Select, and we've done this training, and it's a it's a training about how you as a business can be more welcoming. What would you do if someone came into your place of business and the child had a meltdown? What can you do? What can you keep sensory fidgets on hand? Can you like it's a great little training we developed. Our family education specialist, Lisette Johnson, she goes out and does this training. We've done it for several small businesses. We've also done it for the entire Cumberland County library system. So any
Okay.
business, yes, they can contact us, or people, make suggestions to
Hmm.
businesses, anybody watching this or hearing about it. Because it's definitely something we want to do more of, because a lot of the times we see that maybe the employer doesn't understand or know, and they just need a little bit of additional training. But there's also this side of like maybe this job isn't the right job, and
Yeah.
that's where a job coach, can come in and help make those determinations, but also then help, find the job that does meet the person's needs and one that they're happy having.
Perfect. So for the job coaching, it goes from what age to what age? This way we can have, and you said there is a wait list, right? So submit the parent and the child will
Yes,
submit.
they well, if you tell the caseworker from the county that, you're interested in competitive employment, that we're not the only people that do job coaching. There are other organizations,
Yeah.
but you could say you wanted to select CIT, that's the program with CPARC. And so typically, I think we do students that have graduated, but I think we consider school age. Actually, we do school age students as well, but towards the end of like when they're getting close to graduation.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Well, those are all resources that um, I didn't know that they're existing, and we had this discussion. And I have to, I'll be remiss and if I don't say
Yeah,
this. When I start to, you get in your head and you have something like I'm a problem solver. So when I found there is an issue that I didn't know about, I looked around and I didn't see a lot. So
right.
I start to write and things, and now after I got to know the program and the art, I started to make changes to my plan and proposal because part of it is training, and we can
Mhm.
all do that.
Yes,
So the art won't be overwhelmed, and other places won't be overwhelmed. As parent, just we can take that chance and try to educate. Don't feel ashamed. When we're
right,
out in the community, both of my girls used to be like, you don't have to tell everyone he has autism. You don't have. I said, yeah, for two reasons. First, I'm proud and I'm not ashamed of him and his diagnosis. Second, to have, because the other people around you, they might not know. And their
right,
action might not be, out of, being mean or hateful or
right,
bullying. It could be just basically they didn't know. Um,
right,
so
right,
we do our part and then see what's going to happen, right?
right. We bring the
But
autism awareness. We bring the autism awareness.
yes, yes, yes. We have to
Yeah.
do that. And what other programs are like? I'm asking
Mhm.
for the main concerns. Like it's a nightmare for me. Every time I hear of something happen, it just scare me and make me push me to try to find solution to go this and that. Bullying is a huge issue in
Mm,
general, and we've been advocating about that. But now, knowing that the percentages are really high, the statistics among kids with special need and even adults, and especially autism, that leads to suicide or drug addiction. What you want to say about this part?
wow. So I know we have done this in the past, and now you're making me think I'm going to go tell everybody to do this right away. But we have had trainings. I think we did it on Zoom about social media training and um, sort of the do's and don'ts, because there has to be some kind of awareness created with the individual. We've also, because, right, social, it's also a place you could get in trouble, not just the bullying aspect, but like seeing things inappropriate or being connected to people you don't know, that so safe interaction on social media. But the bullying, you're so right. And I'm struggling to think, I should have been better prepared, but I believe there's legislation out there that was passed about um, making bullying and the encouragement of suicide and those types of things, that was passed into law. I know sometimes with a lot of legislation and law, we're going back and making sure disability is added to some of these laws. So, that's a component as well, because sometimes we're forgotten, a population that's forgotten to be added. Um, on top of other marginalized populations. Mm.
One of the topics, like those are the topics that I've always been passionate about before Kareem's mission, or even Kareem being diagnosed, but like the bullying and leading up to
Mm.
um, suicide, or being in like drug addiction and all of that. And that's something we need to do more work on, all
Mm.
the organizations and even just the community in general. And like you said, the going back and changing or making some changes, because I know the American Disability Act covers some, but there is
Mm.
a lot of area that are not covered, especially sexual assault. This one topic I would like you to just let, if you know
Sure.
about it. The age. A lot of people and even our policymakers and many people in the legislatures, they don't know the autism. There is a physical age and a developmental age. So
Mm.
you look at a child who's big or tall
Adult.
or
Yes. Yeah.
21 and consider
Yes.
by any standard as an adult, but their developmental age is as still a child.
Yeah.
How can we, those are one of the things that are brought to some of our policymakers' attention, and I know you've been working on doing that, creating some policy, if I'm not mistaken. I think you mentioned that before, or talking to them to change some policies. What like how can we help people understand? And can you talk to us about developmental age and physical age if you have a
So
minute?
yeah, no, the number of the statistic, I don't know, but it is alarmingly high. I want to say 7 times more likely, if you have a developmental disability, to be sexually abused. So our first line of defense for us, or what we believe, is to empower the individual, because you would not be surprised that families don't want to talk to their adult. And like, to your point, it's like maybe they feel like they're not developmentally where their body is. But we do something here, and Holly has been doing it for 5 years. Holly Turner's our director of advocacy. I got to give a big shout out. It's called Healthy Relationships. And I think we're living in I guess it goes back to awareness and education. Definitely stricter, harsher penalties. I would be all for that in our law. But I think maybe because we're living in a day and age, if you go on Netflix, you can see, the shows about couples dating, couples that are on the spectrum and love on the spectrum, that maybe there's a bigger dialogue and a bigger understanding of the public, like that everybody wants relationships too. Like, I can tell you, Connor really loves Taylor Swift. I mean, like, he has these feelings in him too. Um, and that's normal and natural. But I think, unfortunately, society, there's still stigma that we think somehow it's not something we should be talking about to this population. So Holly, for the last 5 years, has adapted a curriculum. It's called Healthy Relationships, and it covers everything from like hygiene, boundaries, what's consent. And, I often hear her say, you would be surprised that, for the age the person is, they're adults, it is for adults, coming in, they don't even refer to their body parts by their proper name. They don't even know what the proper names are.
Yeah.
It's because we have sort of treated them like children rather than adults.
Yes.
And so like there's a pre-test to this, there's a curriculum, there's a post-test. And we've had some really great outcomes. We have a healthy both on the spectrum relationship that has blossomed between two people that have taken that course. We've had people come back and take it a few times just because they're still learning and growing and understanding. We talk about, like what is a relationship? Well, you have parents, you have staff, they're paid staff, they're
Hmm.
staff, they're not your friends. Like I know it feels that way. Like so there's all these different nuances and the world is coming out them. But it's really broken down and tailored to um the person taking the course. So yeah, 5 years we've been doing that with brilliant success, and we all say the world needs more of this. We need more of it.
Yeah. 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 You're absolutely right. But how can you do all of this? How are you able to do it? Tell
Because
me.
I can tell you, because I have the most amazing team. I have, and not by design, it just happens to be. There's 9 strong women on this leadership team, and we really are a team. I will tell you about the advocacy department. I didn't mention this earlier. Everyone is a special needs mom.
Mhm.
So they live from the lens that, the lenses from their lived experience as well. It's just a group of really dedicated uh women that we probably drive ourselves crazy, but we all love and respect each other at the same time, and
Mhm.
we help each other out wherever we can, because not to, I don't want to bring this down because it's been so positive, but just like the rest of the world, we are experiencing a staffing shortage. So
Yeah.
everyone is doing more with even less these days. So that's how I do it all. That's how I do it
We're
all
all
with an
feeling it. We're all feeling it. And
yes,
this is one of
yes.
the issue because as a mother or a father, if you don't have someone to watch your kid, that's one thing a lot of people don't understand. If you have a neurotypical child, there's so many daycares you can take them.
Mm.
But if you have a child with autism, for example, it has to be within the capacity and then
Mm.
like care that needed for special need and especially kids with
You are,
autism. So it's not easy. If there is no place, what would you do? Like you're gonna
it's
be
not.
stuck.
And I can tell you, those are calls we get frequently
Hmm.
from families. And I don't pretend that we have a solution, but yeah, childcare centers aren't equipped, or they kick the child out for behavior, and
Hmm.
I'm not
No,
lambasting
no,
the
I
entire
understand.
childcare
Yeah,
system
I
like by
mean,
any stretch. I'm not
yeah,
making overgeneralizations, but we do get those phone calls is the point I'm trying to
yeah.
make. And it is hard. Um, it is hard. And, you know, I think about what you were saying about, and thank you, by the way, I'm a very, it's, I, taking compliments is still something I'm learning to do at my age. But like when you were saying about like, I've gone ahead of you, like we try to say that here, like, where you are today, you're absolutely right. And you're trying to just focus on cream, but the stages along the way, we're constantly like trying to fight. We're always fighting for the future.
Yeah.
Um, and there is a tool that I was thought I should probably mention on here. People can look up. It's called
Hmm.
Charting the Life Course. And it's something you can download, but it has like child's ages by bracket, like, elementary,
Okay.
middle school, whatever. And it prompts you to think about things like, well, let's say middle school. Does your child have chores? And, some
Hmm.
families go like, I didn't even think to do that because I'm
Yeah.
so busy doing X. But so it's just a prompt. Um, that when we get so overwhelmed and busy, it's a good tool to look at and think about, well, what's the next phase? Because the next phase is what's always so scary. What my stepson, he lives in a group home now. He's lived there to 13 years, but I remember the time leading up to it. It was very hard. It was scary. We had to remind
Hmm.
ourselves. I always say the day we drove away, we cried when he moved in,
Yeah.
and we thought, we had done all our research. We were comfortable. This was place was going to meet his needs. And here we are these years later, still happy as ever. But I put myself back in that moment. I started researching that when he was 16
Mm.
because I just knew there was going to be a bureaucracy and
Yeah.
thought it was going to be complicated. But that idea of continually trying to think or consider
Hmm.
the next step along the way, it's just so important, so important.
It is, and there is a lot to talk about. And I
I know
know
we're running out of
this is
time.
not the beginning. When we bring someone from our community who's making a difference or doing something
Right,
amazing, we wanted this to be just an eye opener for everyone.
right.
And you reach out, get to know, learn. I know sometimes you might not have the time, but like Anne said, prepare. Things happening so fast. They're
Yeah,
gonna grow up too fast, and the wait list is very long. So start
yes,
research and apply for anything as soon as you know.
yeah.
A lot of
Register with
information that, yeah, parent
yeah,
didn't know that your child, could get. If there is a safety, concern, there is resources out there.
yeah,
There is this and that. So just do your research, and when all fail and you feel you're drowning and you're alone, look and find the amazing people around you who are doing something. And I know I asked you how you're doing it. I want to know how Anne is doing. How
Anne is
are
doing
you
it.
as a mother, as someone, you're just trying to do a lot and make a
Everything.
difference. How are you?
How do I do it? Wow.
Mentally and
Yes.
emotionally. And what do you
So
do to de-stress?
yeah, right. So I will say that someone told me a long time ago, and I think it was my son when Connor was in elementary school, and I was feeling overwhelmed by a lot because I was taking care of both sons. And by the way, I do have a middle child that's 30 and is grown and gone and is, living the life. Just got married, and now I have a daughter amongst all these men. So, which is fantastic. Um, but she, I was feeling overwhelmed, and she said, "Your child will be always be okay because they have you." And in the moment when I'm overwhelmed, I remember that my stress is usually comes from what everybody's anxiety from a thought or worry about something that is not happening right now today. So that's not to say those things still concern me. I probably any parent you're going to ask, they're going to say it's the what happens when I die. And yes, that creeps in on me just like everyone else, but it's not today. Um, and I can put myself back in the times where I was so overwhelmed with the two, with the with doing the two, and I can remember we were talking earlier. I was okay during the day because I was doing. It was as night when I would lay in bed that I would have like it would come on me because I don't know, maybe I wasn't doing. And I always say my therapy is doing. So I think what I do in some ways, my job, my passion, why I do all this is because it's in some part therapy. But it's also wanting to make a difference for other families because I can remember those darker days. They're, there's still fights to be had, but I'm not
Yeah,
lost. Like I'm not overwhelmed and lost because I've navigated and and that brings me comfort. But so that's how I deal with that. How I deal with just
amazing.
stress relief. What do I do? Um, Honestly, I love genealogy research.
Mm.
I have a family project that I'm working on with that. I have great friends. I think I like to do a balance of um, things that are very extroverted. So we like to go to the theaters in Harrisburg and, shout out to Open Stage. That's one of the places we like to
Yes.
go and have dinner. I know. And and then there's times I just want to be home, like, and I
Yeah.
just want to watch Netflix and eat ice cream, and I do that
Hmm.
too. There's no you have to find what's right for you. And I am very fortunate. I have, my husband is very hands-on, and, the system, even though I work in the system, it impacts us. He's
Hmm.
home because when Connor graduated, there was only 3 days a week of day program.
Yeah.
He was working from home. It was all during the pandemic when this was going on.
Hmm.
And while he worked from home, like some companies took the hard stance of everybody come back to the office. That was right at the time Connor graduated.
Mm.
And so it didn't work. So we discussed and made the decision. And yes, it had a financial impact on us as well.
Yeah.
Of the best place we could, find is for him to stay home because there's stability. Because with Connor's autism, right now, transitions have been hard for him. It's just left over from the pandemic, but honestly, so he hasn't been going to day programs. So that's a work in
Mm.
progress. Actually, we have a good plan in place. It's about to things are about to change on that front, but
I
still
hope so.
it's 3 days a week, so we need to be there for that because to your point, what do you do? He's an adult and we still have to go, balancing a career is hard. So I'm blessed that I have an amazing hands-on husband.
And that's what a lot of people missing. Like I'm a single mom.
Yes,
I
that
do almost
you are it
everything,
all.
and
Yes, yeah.
it is, and there's so many out there that has a partner, whether it's a mom or a dad, who are still in denial, or somebody who is just cannot make it. And I know with the economy, even if you have two income, it's
It,
hard. And when you
yeah,
have one income, and then that one income cannot be there every day
sure.
because of you need to make some
Right.
adjustment if there's a change, if a cancellation or anything. This is not an easy thing. So hats off to you, your husband, and I hope everyone that will find someone to be their village. And hopefully we all can be a resource for everyone out there listening, and we can support as much as possible. And it's not easy. You cannot fit everyone in 24 hours. And I keep saying this all the time with the messages and the email, you can respond. But sometimes it's just there's not enough
No.
hours in a day to do your own thing and then answer. So having website, having things that are there readily available to answer all the questions. Go to the ARC website, go to Karimi's Mission website, go to the county IDD, go to Vesta, all of those resources. Whatever you don't find here, you'll find there. And hopefully one day we will have a system to connect all and have everything going. You click, it take you to where you need it. But I know we cover a lot, but
Yes.
still, this is not even a drop. You
Right.
guys do your researches, and hopefully, soon in the future, we will have Anne again, and we have a lot of people that will be able to add more information. Before we end, we always like to end with a fun
Okay.
lightning round. So I'm gonna
Oh,
ask you
okay.
questions. Give me whatever comes to your mind first.
Okay.
All right. So, what would you say to your 16? This is could be a little bit
Oh my
longer.
gosh.
And as
Okay.
16 years old, what advice would you give her?
Don't change a thing.
Love it. Love it. Who is your inspiration?
Who is my inspiration? Oh my gosh. Well, I will shout out to my grandpa Sid, who obviously is no longer with us, but yes, a man that overcame a lot in his
He's
life.
listening.
Yes. um, he so
Grandma.
I'm born and raised in New York City, and was like a tough New York City, depression era.
Hmm.
Had addiction in his life, but my relationship was very special with him. And he taught me to ride my bike and tie my shoes, and I think have that feistiness in me that I have.
Thank you, Grandpa in heaven.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. What is your guilty pleasure? And we get all kind: ice cream, Netflix, binging, going walking, hiking. I don't remember what was the one
Sure.
exceptional guilty pleasure. I don't remember it, but I'll send it to you. What is Anne's
My
guilty
guilty,
pleasure?
I would just say sweets in general.
You and I both.
It could be ice cream, it could be chocolate. It's okay.
And last but not least, what one thing that people misunderstand about you
Oh my
or
gosh,
don't know about
this could
you?
be a whole other segment. So
This
Hagir,
is, yes, let's
I,
do it.
I am 5 foot tall. I am, and and I'm a woman, and I would say that I've been, I'm the underdog sometimes, or I'm
Yeah.
misunderstood, or I'm perceived um differently. So that is definitely like there's a lot. There's what I lack in height, God made up for in many other ways. So
Exactly. Don't underestimate us. So many people
yeah.
sometimes know of me, and when they see me in person, they're like, "We expected you to be taller." And I'm like, good things come in small packages. So, hey,
Yes.
watch.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, don't underestimate us. Don't dismiss us. We are here to
Yes.
stay and make a difference and make a remark. We don't want to leave this world without doing everything that we can to make a positive impact and make a change. And honestly, I can thank you enough. I cannot thank you enough for giving me this time. I know you are busy, and this will benefit so many people out there who are listening to us. And I want to thank everyone who's watching, sending messages. Whatever we didn't get to today, we will do it when we come back again. And thank you so very much. And just stay positive, stay beautiful, and you might not know who's watching, but
Right.
you are an inspiration to so many that are watching you and seeing what you do. And I know sometimes you feel like what we do is not enough, but you are enough and you're doing enough. Keep being beautiful as you are.
Oh, as are you, Kareem, as are you. Thank you. Oh,
Thank
Hajia,
you.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Hey, Kareem
Good
good.
luck with,
Kareem is
I
good
was going to
too.
say to you, good luck
But
with Kareem's mission. Just good luck.
Caribe's
All
mission.
good. Yeah.
And just a reminder before we end, everyone, Saturday is our event, Autism Connect. So if you are in the area, Central Pennsylvania, come join us, talk. We want to be able to help each other and just be that support in the village for each other. Remember to always be the change that you want to see in the world. And we will see you guys in our next video.